Where do you see the chances of this data extractivism?
Yeah. What I see the chances?
The chances, yeah.
Meaning?
For humanity, for there's always good and bad, but where is the positive part of it?
Well, the positive part of it is that it will last very short. Then the bad scenario comes. So, I mean, the data extractivism to me, it's not like extractivism of natural resources, right? So with oil, you can argue we've been extracting it for a century and will go on for another few, right? Given good conditions. Same thing with coal. With data, there is a very limited time framework. So these firms now, I mean, they are in a period of data extractivism, as in they offer services which we use for free in order to extract as much data, use some of it for enhancing the advertising offers or selling offers in the case of Amazon, while using the rest of it to train their AI systems and then develop services that they can come and sell to the rest of us. The thing is that there are diminishing returns to scale to harvesting all that data, extracting all that data. You know, again, data is not like oil. You cannot drive cars on it. Right? So there are things you learn from data, but knowing more and more about me, if you already know everything that I write and all the meetings I have and all my friends, knowing more about me on a daily basis does not yield much increases in the overall knowledge. Right? So right now, I think we are in the kind of benevolent phase of data extractivism, as in we are still getting some benefits from it because we're getting free services and so forth. But ultimately, there is no free lunch in the system, and we will have to pay because these firms are not subsidizing us because they're benevolent. They're subsidizing us because they expect to get a much higher payoff on their investments. To some extent, you can argue that Uber is subsidizing us because Uber offers us rides that are cheaper than the taxi rides. But the reason why that's happening is because Uber has very deep pockets. In America, they've been losing something like $1 billion per year because they just do not cover their own operating costs. So they go and raise money somewhere from all of the global institutional investors like sovereign wealth funds of Saudi Arabia or Singapore or Qatar and many other players, Goldman Sachs. Then they come to a market. They can afford to lower services at costs below what the rest of the competition charges. They destroy the competition. Another question, what happens next? Right? And what happens next is that they either raise the prices or they automate the cars so they get rid of the drivers altogether and thus lowering the labor costs. So in the first case, if they raise the prices, sort of all of us suffer because there will not be competition locally, it will already be destroyed. If it's the second option, then the drivers who have previously counted on Uber to more or less provide them with jobs will lose them. Right? So, I mean, those are the two options that we don't know what the third option is. The third option is to keep growing and try to derive better returns from scale. So it means that essentially you do end up with Uber trying to run transportation services everywhere, from Kenya to Lithuania, from Cambodia to Brazil, right? Which, again, is not necessarily a super appealing prospect for me. Yeah. So, I mean, it does not mean, by the way, that you cannot build an economy centered on data differently. You can build an economy that will be more just, more fair, that will favor local players over global ones. That will require, however, a very clear-sighted approach to socializing data and treating it as infrastructure. There is a good reason why a lot of traditional infrastructure in our economy is accessible to all on equal terms. Yes. Right? We do not give car companies favorable conditions to use the roads just because they manufacture cars. Yeah. And I think it would be reasonably fair to expect that Google will receive access to AI and to data on the same conditions as a small startup in Germany would. I mean, right now that's not the case. Yeah. They offer us some limited benefits because they also have open source AI platforms. Google has, for example, TensorFlow, but they are not advanced enough for you to be able to build anything as clever as a self-driving car with that AI. Yeah. So you can innovate on the margins. You can do trivial things. You cannot really do really big sophisticated things because access to that AI and data infrastructure is just given to a handful of firms. And to me, it's the same as having 2 or 3 firms control access to all of the land and then charging everybody else rent for using that land. I mean, yes, it will be very profitable for those rentiers. It will not actually lead to a lot of productive investment in the economy because you actually have a tax exercised across everybody to benefit just a few players.